back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, or if you've never been here before, welcome. My name's Rachel. I'm the owner and creator here at the Eclectic Cottage in Spokane, Washington. Happy Friday. How's your week gone for you? I hope it's gone well. I know mine is finally getting somewhere because I have the Hutch top out of my kitchen. So my studio is clear. I can actually move around in there again, which is nice. And I'm really happy with how the Hutch top turned out. The only thing left to do is the back. I haven't had time yet to lay it down and paint it and then put the transfers on it yet. But that will be probably tomorrow's project and part of my video for Tuesday. So keep an eye out for that. But it was quite the process. I forget when I get into these big pieces of furniture, how long it takes to paint and then wait for paint to dry, and then paint and then wait for paint to dry. So many steps. And have you ever gotten into a project where by the time you're midway, you really just want to be done? That's kind of where I got with this Hutch top. I just wanted it out of my studio and to be done messing with it. So thankfully, we're finally there. Anyway, so today's video is going to be all about getting this Hutch top finished up and waxed and the glass clean, which was a pain, and out on my floor. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, please remember to give it a thumbs up. That helps me out and I really appreciate it. And if you want to see more of my craziness here behind the scenes at the cottage and all the stuff that I have going on in my studio, please subscribe to my channel and then hit the little notification bell, and that way it'll let you know when I upload new content. I currently am trying to stick to Tuesdays and Fridays. At this point, being as how it's kind of spring and then going into summer, I don't know what exactly those 2 days are going to look like. So we'll just have to wait and see as time goes on. But anyway, again, I hope you enjoyed today's video of me finishing up the Hutch top, and I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday. Bye. Well, I finally got the Hutch top into the kitchen, and here she is. She's a beautiful mess. Definitely some damage on the bottom shelf there. But all in all, really good shape. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to get the back off of it. We'll see how that goes, just so that I can have a little easier time painting the back and getting to the shelves. So hopefully I can do it without damaging the back at all. Keep your fingers crossed for me. So here is the beginning of getting the back off of it. I was just using a little screwdriver at first. I ended up switching over to a knife at one point to try and get in there a little bit better. I had to remove some of the staples before I could get the back off. It was definitely a process, but I managed to get it out of there without damaging it too much, thankfully. Next, it was time to clean it, so I got out my handy dandy crud cutter and gave it a good bath on the inside to get it ready for painting. Once I got the crud cutter done, I went over that with some clean water just to get any residue taken care of, and then it was on to painting. Now I decided I wanted to paint the inside of this hutch a different color than the outside. So the inside is DIY's Crinoline, and then the outside will be Sweet Pickins milk paint in Birdie. So it made it definitely a little bit more of a process, and I had to paint the sides and then wait for them to dry, and then paint the top and the bottom and wait for that to dry in order for the paint not to pull in the corners on this piece. So that was definitely a little time consuming. So once I was done painting the inside with 2 good even coats of crinoline and it was thoroughly dry, it was time to move on to prepping the outside of the piece for paint. The first step in this was masking off all of the glass, just because I didn't want to get milk paint all over the glass pieces. So that was a little bit of time to get the masking tape all on perfectly. And once that was done, I just gave it a quick wash down with some clean water and my shop towels. Then it was finally time to start painting. Now, if you've ever used milk paint, it goes on a little thin, so your first coat doesn't look like much. It isn't until you start putting that second coat of paint on where the color actually starts to really show. And for this piece, like I said, I did go over it with 3 good even coats of paint just because I didn't want any of the wood showing through. So here goes the second coat, and then this is me putting that third coat on. By this point in the project, I'm definitely ready to be done. And I'm really happy to be finally finished with the painting. So here it is, all finished with painting, ready to move on to the next steps, which are sanding to remove any little chunks left behind by the milk paint, kind of like this little guy right there, and taking the masking tape off, getting it waxed, and then the glass cleaned. So here I am taking the masking tape off first, and I ended up actually peeling a little bit of the paint off in a couple places, and I had to mix up just a tad of paint so that I could fix them, which was kind of a pain, and then wait for that to dry before I could move on to sanding. So here I am with my little hand sander and some 220 grit sandpaper, just giving this a really light sand, basically only to knock off any of those little chunks that get left behind by the milk paint. I did go in with a little bit of sandpaper by hand to get some out of the little crevices and whatnot. And once that was done, I gave it a bath with just some clean water and a shop towel inside and out to get it ready for wax. Then it was on to waxing. On the inside, I didn't want it to be grungy or patinaed at all, so I'm just using clear wax. I gave it one good even coat all over the inside with the clear wax, and then I went over the shelves with a second coat just for extra protection. Then it was on to waxing the outside. So here I'm kind of showing you just the process of doing the top of this. I went over it with one good coat of clear wax and wiped that back. And then I'm going in with my dark wax and a small brush and just getting that into all the little details on this piece. Now the thing with dark wax is you can build it up as much as you want. You can make it as dark as you want it. You can use it for shading and shadowing, any way you want to use it. So I really like to go in on this little detail and add extra dark wax, and I'll add like a few layers just to really make it look a little dingy and really stand out from the piece. Once that was done and I was happy with how it looked, I went in and I filled in that line with some dark wax as well. Just kind of painted it in there with a little artist brush. Again, I just really wanted all the details of this piece to stand out without a whole lot of distressing. So this is a good example as well. I went over all the door frames with the clear wax, wiped that back, and then went over it with my dark wax and then wiped that back. And once that was done, I took my little artist brush and I ran it down both sides in the little grooves just to add a little bit more depth and dimension. And then I carefully wiped back just the parts that I wanted to be wiped back. Then I even went in the corners and kind of grunged them up just a little bit more all the way around. Once the waxing was done, the final step was cleaning the glass inside and out, and this baby's finally done. What do you think?